Hi, thank you for giving us this interview for Enlace Judío.
Welcome, thank you.
And I would like to know, when did you start to write?
I started writing in a very early age because I was always, since I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, very much interested in literature. And I began writing as a young journalist for a children's newspaper when I was maybe 9 or 10. And during the years, I made all kinds of experiments. Since my first book was published in Israel in 2000, its name is The Investigation of Captain Erez. It tells the story of a rape investigation in the army. The second, Limassol, which is called here Poeta de Gaza, which was published in Israel in 2009. And my last book, which its name is Naomi's Kindergarten, was published in Israel last year, 2013. It's a story, one life in the life of a kindergarten teacher who struggles to keep her kindergarten because she's demanded to evacuate it, because somebody wants to build a high-rising, fancy apartment building. So that's it so far.
So what kind of stories do you like to write?
I try to change it every time. I don't like to write over and over again. I can tell you my next book will be completely different, as my previous were different from each other. I know the style I like in other writers' books or novels. I like very much the Americans, the classic like Hemingway, Fitzgerald. I like some of the Europeans, Kafka on the one side, Georges Simenon on the other hand, and I read a lot, so I'm very much influenced by many of them, also from Latin America literature, like Vargas Llosa, of course, Garcia Marquez, and recently I've read Roberto Bolaño's stories, the Chilean writer. So I have many sources of influence.
I know that you received 3 different awards for El Poeta de Gaza. Can you tell me which were?
I received a very prestigious prize in France for the best police novel. I believe it was 2011, if I'm not mistaken. I received in Italy a prize for human rights writing in the city of Trieste. I was shortlisted for the Impact Prize in Ireland, which is one of the most prestigious prizes, literary prizes in Europe, and few others I cannot remember right now. It succeeded very much, especially in Europe.
Why did some of the awards you received for this book is called the Black Novel?
In France, they make the distinction between the genre of noir literature, black literature, like all the mystery and the detectives, and it's very much appreciated there. Even though actually I don't consider it like a thriller, but it's kind of dark. There is a mystery, there is investigation, so that's the tag they put on it.
Okay. What are your plans for this visit to Mexico?
It's the first time I visit Mexico. Mexico is very, very far away from Israel. I had to fly here about 20 hours. There is no direct flights.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad to be here. And I'm very busy. I have a very busy schedule, meeting with the press, meeting with my editors, with literary people. And I have also some time, not too much, to sightseeing and looking around. And I'm very much fascinated from what I saw so far.
Okay. And you told me that you are already writing a book.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that book?
It will be a story placed in Jerusalem. which will deal with, let's say, Jewish mythology. And I really don't like to say more like that now, you know, it's a matter of superstition, and I prefer to keep it close to my chest, but it will be published in Israel next year.
Okay, and do you have already a name?
No, not yet. That's not, no.
Not
I didn't
yet.
decide on a name yet.
And you work full-time like a lawyer? Do you work full-time like a
Yes,
lawyer?
sure. You cannot really, you know, have 2 children, the wife, and you cannot provide for 3 children for a family just from writing, unfortunately. Maybe in the future, but right now it's difficult.
And would you like to tell me something else important about life, your living, your way of thinking?
Yeah, literature is a very important part of my life, because everything that interests me, bothers me, obsesses me, I put in there. But first of all, it's a matter of art. That's what I like best. So I don't have a lot of time for it, but when I write a book, I sit every night between 10 o'clock in the evening and midnight and write like a clerk, you know, 500 words, whether they are good or bad. Sometimes I delete all of them the day after, but you need very much discipline in order to complete novels. That's a hard job.
Okay. And what do you think about the situation now in Israel?
You know, it's for about 100 years this conflict goes on. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that it's going to be solved soon, which is terrible, because there is no use for these attacks. They attack us and we counter-attack them, like what happened in Gaza in recent months. Innocent people are being hurt from both sides, and instead of talking to each other, we shoot each other, which is really stupid. But I'm optimistic. I think that in the long run, it's both people's interest to live side by side peacefully, and I hope it's also a matter of leadership, which now on both sides I think is not enough.
Do you think that literature helps the humankind to change their way of thinking about history, about conflicts, about living?
Yeah, that's for sure, but not for the short run. I don't think literature decides the results of an election or avoids a war. Usually it's just after a war that you see, oh, this writer was right about it. Take the history of Europe, of the terrible wars that happened there. Many writers wrote about it before and warned that it is a very bad thing, but nobody listened to them. But of course, in the long run, literature has a very important role in creating myths, creating narratives, influencing the way people think about issues. So it has importance, of course. I live in Tel Aviv, which is the very nice city in Israel. I work as a lawyer, I have a family, and that's everyday life for me.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.